After a spiritual awakening, many people are shocked to discover that their motivation disappears. Before awakening, you may have lived with fire in your heart, chasing goals, working on dreams, making plans, and feeling a constant push forward. Every morning you woke up with something to prove, something to build, something to reach. Then suddenly, after awakening, you look at your life and everything feels strange. It is not better, not worse, just empty. The things that used to excite you no longer matter. The dreams that once filled you with passion now feel like they belong to someone else. The plans you carefully made suddenly feel too small, too shallow, or too meaningless. It feels like all the air inside you has been let out. This stage is so common, yet so rarely spoken about, that when people face it, they often panic. You ask yourself, why do I feel like I don't care about anything anymore? Why can't I push myself the way I used to? Where did all my passion go? It is frightening when the inner flame that guided you suddenly vanishes, because without it you feel lost, without direction, without purpose. But the truth is your old motivation has not been destroyed, it has been replaced. What you are experiencing is not a breakdown, it is a realignment of your entire being. Before awakening, much of your motivation came from the ego. That is not something bad, it is simply how the world shaped us. From childhood, we were taught to become somebody, to achieve something, to be recognized, to succeed, to be admired. We were taught that life is about chasing dreams, reaching goals, proving ourselves, and always moving forward. But in all of this rushing and striving, we were rarely asked a very important question. Why? Why do we want what we want? Why are we running so fast? The ego has 1,000 answers. To be seen, to be respected, to avoid failure, to feel safe, to make our parents proud, to gain approval, to avoid rejection, to be loved. Almost all of these reasons are rooted in fear. The fear of not being enough, the fear of being forgotten, the fear of being unloved. So even though ambition looked like strength, much of it was fueled by fear. Spiritual awakening is like a light shining into the darkness. It exposes what was hidden behind your drive. You suddenly see that most of what you were chasing was not for joy, not for peace, not for love, but to cover a wound that could never be filled from the outside. And when you truly see this, you cannot keep running on the same fuel. You lose the taste for it. It is like waking up from a dream in which you were running a race, only to realize the race was never real in the first place. And so after awakening, you hit a wall. Goals that once pulled you forward now feel hollow. Achievements that once gave you meaning now seem empty. Building a career, seeking recognition, staying busy, all of it can suddenly feel irrelevant. It is not because you no longer care, but because you see through the illusion. You see that no amount of success can give you what your soul is truly searching for: peace, love, truth, freedom. This is where many people become confused. They mistake this stage for laziness, depression, or failure. They believe something has gone wrong, but in reality, something sacred is happening. You are in a transition, a space between stories. The identity that used to chase is dissolving, and the new self has not yet been born. This space is often called the void. It feels dark, quiet, and aimless. You're no longer the old you, but you do not yet know who you are becoming. The mind hates this uncertainty, so it panics. It tries to drag you back into the old way. You try routines, hacks, to-do lists, productivity systems. You try to force the old fire to come back, but it does not work. The engine is gone, and nothing can make it start again. Try to return to the old way is like plugging a new system into a dead power source. It will never work. The reason is simple. Your old motivation came from the belief that you were incomplete, that you had to achieve in order to be enough. Awakening shows you the truth, that you are already whole, already worthy, already divine. When you see this, there is nothing left to chase. And so you face the emptiness. But this emptiness is not the absence of life. It is the absence of illusion. It is the clearing away of everything false so that something true can emerge. This is where the new motivation begins to appear, but it is very different from the old. It does not roar like ambition. It whispers like intuition. It does not push with pressure. It flows with peace. It does not arise from fear. It arises from presence. In this new way, you do not act because you are afraid not to. You act because something deep inside you quietly calls you forward. It is like the tide pulling the waves. It is not forced. It is natural. You feel invited, not commanded. You create not to impress, but because your soul wants to express. You give not to gain, but because love wants to pour through you. You speak not to argue, but because truth wants a voice. This motivation takes time to recognize. You must slow down, become quiet, and allow it to show itself. In a world that worships speed, hustle, and productivity, this slower rhythm feels wrong. But it is not wrong. It is real. You're not being lazy. You're being rewired. So how do you reconnect with this new purpose? The first step is to stop searching outside. Your purpose is not out in the world. It is inside you, waiting to reveal itself when you stop trying so hard to be someone. Allow yourself to not know. Allow yourself to rest in the emptiness. This is where clarity is born. Then pay attention to peace. Not excitement, not adrenaline, peace. Notice what makes you breathe easier, what softens your body, what calms your heart. That is your soul speaking. Follow that. That is your compass. Then gently get curious. Ask yourself, if I had nothing to prove, what would I love to do today? The answer might be simple: taking a walk, writing a few words, painting, cooking, sitting in silence, helping someone without asking for anything in return. These small things reconnect you to life. They remind you that your worth was never in the achievement. It was always in your being. Be patient. Awakening is not a straight road. There will be days of clarity and joy, and days when you feel lost and heavy. Both are part of the path. The lost days are not failures. They are sacred too. Over time, you will notice a shift. You will stop searching for purpose and realize that you are the purpose. Your presence, your awareness, your love, your truth. This is what the world needs. And from that state of wholeness, action flows naturally. You will find yourself creating again, but not for validation, for joy. You will move again, but not to escape, to express. You will serve again, but not from fear of being nothing, but from the fullness of knowing you are already everything. The ego will still whisper. It will ask, what about money? What about success? What about goals? These things may still play a role in your life, but they will no longer control you. You may still build a career or start a project, but not because you need it to prove your worth. You will do it because life is moving through you and the action feels natural. You will no longer chase meaning. You will live it. You no longer need to climb to the top of the mountain to find yourself. You discover that you are the mountain. So if you feel lost, if you feel empty, if your motivation has disappeared, do not panic. Do not think you are broken. You are not broken. You are transforming. You are being guided away from illusion and into truth. And truth does not scream, it whispers. It waits for you to be still enough to hear it. One day soon, your energy will return. Not the restless energy of fear, but the steady energy of love. You will look back at this emptiness and realize it was not your downfall, but your blessing. It was grace clearing space for the real you to finally be heard. And in that moment, you will no longer chase life, because you will finally be living it. You will realize that the purpose was never out there. The purpose was always you.